can't tell if it's a defense mechanism or if it's just really good marketing, but you absolutely don't have to be rich to get rich. That would kind of defeat the purpose.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And I am joined by Nat Bullen. And I'm so excited because I kind of fell into, I will call it kind of a social media vortex. There was like this really cool thing that happened. I'll let Nat tell you about it. But it led me to wondering, why did I not know this gal before that happened? And I fell in love with her content after. And so, Nat Bullen is a absolute gun at coaching, wealth, shifting your mindset. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here.
I'm happy to be here. The vortex has been interesting, but I'm around.
Love it. Well, and I have read so many of your social posts and followed some of your live streams. You strike me as being such a down-to-earth educator and somebody who genuinely wants like good things for good people. So it's such a pleasure to have you here. So Nat, why don't you just like take 30 seconds and catch us up a bit on what exactly it is that you do and how you help people these days?
I can do that. So after years of being in direct sales and being in banking, I decided to strike out and be a coach. And I have gone from helping people budget and save to helping people make a lot of money and returning back to my roots of helping people with high revenue businesses actually create personal and generational wealth. I believe that having a business serves to create a wealth portfolio for you and to give you the money to have the options to live the life that you want. So not just a job. And I feel really great that I'm able to help elevate people. We do that through high-level community. We do that through private coaching. And we do that through short-term, I guess you could say sprints that allow you to achieve a really specific goal and then kind of hop to the next thing. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's always really struck me about, as I've, been one of your followers, is that you are really down to earth. You clearly care a lot, and you're also not afraid to express your opinion. And I just had to ask your opinion about this. In your opinion, what do we all get wrong about wealth?
That it takes a lot of money to get started.
Ooh, say more about that. What's that mean?
Everyone gets that wrong. People think they need tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even $1 million to even start investing, that they don't need life insurance until they're a multimillionaire, or that they don't need umbrella insurance until they're the Rockefellers, that they can't buy a business until their first business has made $100 million, that until they're like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, that there's nothing they can do. People are very extreme in their pursuit of wealth. And it's strange because if you look at some other lofty goal, like say fitness, say you wanted to be an Olympian, you'll never hear someone say, I can't go to the gym today because I'm not fit enough to be an Olympian. Right? Like you'll never hear that. People will never say, I'm not fit or athletic enough to go to the gym. People understand that they're going to the gym to help achieve that goal. Wealth is that thing that we've kind of put on the shelf as like for someone else, like off in the future, in the times I can't quantify yet, I'll invest in the stock market. I'll buy life insurance. I'll blank. And it's like, there's so much you could do right now. And in fact, doing nothing just pushes that hypothetical future date out to where it probably won't happen. And I think that's because we think that millionaires are heirs. We mistakenly think that multimillionaires inherited wealth. 3 out of 4 millionaires are self-made, meaning they made that money themselves from their own investments or their own business. So the belief that your parents have to be rich for you to be rich is flawed. And I can't tell if it's a defense mechanism or if it's just really good marketing by the upper class, but you absolutely don't have to be rich to get rich. That would kind of defeat the purpose.
I love this so much, and I am really curious. You're clearly so passionate on this.
Yeah.
Why do you care? Why do you care so much? Like what's driving you? to lead and to share these messages and to take so much time to focus on this. You're clearly very intelligent. You could work anywhere. Like, why this?
Thank you. I'm like, I don't feel that way. I live in Huntsville, Alabama. It's a STEM city. NASA is here. So if you don't have a STEM degree, you're going to make $40,000 a year at Target. So unfortunately, my lived experience is not that I could have a job anywhere. And maybe that's part of what makes me so dogged about this, right? I think on a personal level, I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to be really smart and work 2-3 jobs. I know what it's like to wait tables and make $2.13 an hour and do everything right and still end up filing bankruptcy. I know what it's like to sleep on a friend's couch because of a bad relationship. It sucks. And it's not because I wasn't financially literate. It's because I was low income. Poverty is a curse. Full stop. It's not a positive thing for anyone to experience, yet so many people experience it. And I live in the second poorest state in the country. Alabama is not affluent at all. And so I'm so accustomed to seeing what happens when we decide or live, I can't have enough money, I can't make good decisions. And I felt like as an entrepreneur, I shouldn't have that. As an entrepreneur, I deserve to be able to choose my own clients and choose my own prices. And if that's true, if I'm choosing these things, I chose the name, the model, the branding, the website, all of it, then if the money's not there, then there's some choice I made that encouraged that, right? And if that's true, then I could choose something else. And I think that that's something that gets completely lost in the online space. We seem to approach it like when we worked a job as though we're in some type of caste system that we can't break out of. But I want to be the next Mark Cuban, really, really rich because they had a good idea. And I hate to see people not live up to their wealth potential, which hurts us because the system is set up to keep marginalized people marginalized. It is set up to oppress a certain type of person. And as a woman who is Black, I'm all of the types of people that this system is set up to oppress. But when I worked at Wells Fargo, I got tapped on the shoulder by a mentor who encouraged me to go into private banking. She told me I was smart enough to pass the test. And that's why I got the promotion, because they thought I could pass the licensing. And I did. I passed all of the tests on my first try, and I became a licensed banker. I became a person who could sell securities, a stockbroker, if you will. And not very many Black people, especially in their 30s, do that. That number is minuscule. So I've been able to get in rooms where people talked freely about money because they didn't realize I was there. Their racism made me invisible. And so now I know exactly how you build wealth brick by brick. Wouldn't it be a shame for me to not share that information? I feel as though God put me in these rooms. He put me in that position. He put everything in my life that has happened to me to set me on the trajectory to do this for people. I get to be the reason that people decide that being middle class isn't good enough anymore. So I don't think I really chose it. I feel like it was put upon me and I was just obedient.
That is so powerful. And what came up for me was there's always a first. There's a first in your family. Yeah. There's a first in your community. There's always a first. And it's not usually a very celebrated spot to be in, especially if you don't look
really
the part, right? And and I love this. This is so powerful. When we were getting ready to do this episode, you shared with me that money's way more than buying the stocks. It's way more than the spreadsheets and the things that can kind of intimidate people from even getting started with it. And I was just so curious, now where you are as an entrepreneur, having achieved the level of success you have so far, how would you define wealth?
I think wealth is having the ecosystem and the environment and the resources to live the life of your choosing. That's what I think. So I don't think it's just money. I think it's having money, sure, but it's also having opportunities. It's having options. It's having friendship and relationship. It's having connectedness. It's having joy and leisure and hobbies that make your life whole. When I was broke, I had none of those things. I worked 3 jobs and I was in college. I went to class and then I went to job number 1 and then I drove from job number 1 to number 2. I went back to my dorm. I did a little work and then I worked overnight at job number 3 and then I woke up and did it all over again. I didn't have the choice to eat better food. I ate what they let me get 50% off at Cracker Barrel. I didn't have the choice to make better friends or go to a better school. That's what I had. And now being able to wake up and say, I don't like how this person treats me. I'm not going to be friends with them anymore, and I am going to invest the time to make new friends instead of being stuck at a dead-end job where you have to be friends with these colleagues that you don't even like, right? Or being able to say, you know what? It's stressful where I am in a red state where they're picketing and got signs up in front of the Planned Parenthood. And I don't want to see that. You know what? Let me fly to the UK for a week. Let me go somewhere and chill out. That's not something I've ever had the option. So it's having the opportunities to do what you want. I think if wealth only means something financial to you, you've missed the bit, because there's so much more that's powerful, especially in our relationships. You know, it's an adage that I agree with. I was taught, if you want a promotion, go back to college. But our peers, our non-melanated peers, are taught, oh, you want a promotion? Cozy up to the boss. Make some relationships, right? Go to the golf course. We've never been taught that. And so I feel like now is an opportunity for women, especially women of color, to say, you know what? I'm going to be more connected in this season to people who are going where I'm going, people with high IQ and high EQ. So we're not the smartest person or the best connected person or the best dressed person in the room, the person someone's always looking to as a safety net. I now have a community of safety nets. I mean, we're basically Cirque du Soleil. I mean, it's just nets on top of nets. I mean, if I fall off my little tricycle, a lot of people gonna hop out the clown car to come get me. And I haven't always had that. And that has made me feel truly wealthy lately.
Oh my gosh. How did you figure out that it was relationships that would activate that next level? Like, I love your clown car
I don't know that I figured it out. I think other people figured it out for me. But okay, here's what the listeners don't know. I'm an introvert and I have one relationship skill in my top 15 Clifton strengths. I mean, it is horrible. One. Come on. That's not fair. That's not fair. And so, you know, I think, and I'll admit, I was bullied in middle school. I was ostracized for being too brainy, a know-it-all, a goody two-shoes. I was a virgin a really long time. I just definitely wasn't a cool kid. I was chubby, had glasses, had braces. My mom was a teacher. Oh my God. Like literally everything that socially could harm you, I had going for me. And I didn't trust people. I went into my 20s a very skeptical human being that was hyper independent and felt like if you wanted something done right, you do it yourself. But I've learned that we are all interdependent and I can't know everything. I just can't. It's not in my capacity. I used to want to be a genius. I would dream of being inducted into Mensa. I was going to be one of those people who wore their pen everywhere. People were going to know I was a genius. And I recognize that I actually don't have the capacity to be a genius from an IQ standpoint, but I do have the skill to be able to galvanize people towards a mission and make people listen to me. So I say, you know what would happen if I tried to build some community, right? And let people naturally find me. And to answer your question directly, I got to come up. Someone actually gave me advice because I was at a workshop that I wasn't going to go to, but I went to for the connections. And this person was able to partner me with a loan officer who was able to get me funding cleared in 7 to 10 days. And that funding allowed me to take a fully funded sabbatical without having to touch my cash cushion. And I never would have known about it had I not been in community with this specific person at that time, at that event that I didn't want to go to because I was an introvert. And that's when it dawned on me that you don't know where the connection is or what the tip or the tool or the introduction is going to be. But if you are trying to do everything by yourself, you will work harder. And I decided I really didn't want that anymore. So I'm open to the idea of people being willing to help me. And I'm open to the idea that other people know, maybe not more than me, but different things than I do. And that collectively, we are much smarter as a unit than I could ever be by myself.
Gosh, I love this wisdom, because especially when we're drawn to doing, entrepreneurship, very often there's this rebel streak, and we want to break from the crowd and we want to do our thing and we want to be creative. And, you're speaking and I'm like, it is so parallel some of my own experiences. Same thing. Like I want to
Yeah.
be recognized as being the smartest patootie in the room. I want to be recognized for that. There's value, of course, in intelligence and in knowledge, but that's not the full it. Like, that's not the
Yeah.
whole thing. And I love
Right.
your realization of just realizing so much magic happens when you get into a room and then you start learning how to get into the right room. And, can you talk to me a little bit about wealth expansion through connection? Because something I've noticed in my communities and just sort of in general is it feels a lot like people are going straight for the what can I sell you or what can
Right.
you do for me kind of
Right.
relationships. And my experience, and please, like, correct me if you have a different point of view, but my experience is that the best relationships are a little more tangential than that. They tend to happen more naturally. Like I said, I've been watching your content forever and I agree with a lot of what you say, and I disagree with some of the things you say, but I keep paying attention to what you're saying because like, this is somebody who pays attention. So it's like, okay, when there was an opportunity for us to do a podcast, I was like, yeah. But it was very, like, kind of this tangential way into the deepening of the relationship. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for that. One, when we are in scarcity, we actually cannot connect to people in the way that you have described. And most people are in scarcity. So if your bills are not paid, if you don't know how you're going to get dinner on the table, if your kids are running amok and their needs are not met, then you cannot genuinely connect with me. You have to treat me like a prospect because you have to close a sale today. So number one is getting out of environments where people are in scarcity. I actually don't do deals with people who are in financial duress. I don't sell to people in financial duress. I don't join free Facebook groups full of bargain shoppers. I don't go in Facebook groups where they allow any kind of selling, because you get this kind of flea market mentality where everybody's trying to sell, nobody's trying to buy, and it's dog eat dog. So one is, as you become more financially secure, get around other people who are as well. Now, scarcity minded and broke don't have to go together. I know wealthy people who have scarcity mindsets, right? And when I was broke, I had the beginnings of a wealth mindset. I knew I was destined for more. I just didn't have a physical manifestation of it yet. But scarcity mindset is what drives that linear path that you're talking about. That I met you on Monday, now I gotta DM you on Tuesday and sell you something on Wednesday. That's all they can afford to do. They can't afford to let this naturally develop. They need your money right now. So that's one, is assessing where is the wealth mindset of the person that I am looking to engage with. I think two, there's a lot of workaholic tendency in the United States in general. And so it's hard for people to accept something that can't be quantified. It's difficult for people to say, at some point in the future, nebulous, you may be able to give me a resource possible that could get me an outcome, maybe. That doesn't feel like a strong enough value proposition to people. People want to be able to put a label. I met with Amanda. Amanda put me on her podcast. I talked about my program. Someone listened to the podcast. Someone gave me money. I got an ROI. If people can't make that kind of connection, they say it didn't work. And three, the United States is the most individualistic country in the world. There's data and statistics on that. And so most people tend to tell themselves they're lone wolves, that they don't need anybody. They don't need a man. They don't need any friends. And so they actually don't have the emotional capacity to allow you to be anything other than a lead. So they actually don't possess the capacity to even let you be friends with them. Like their defense mechanism is up. What I have decided is to be around people who have nothing to gain, right? If we end up being cool, great. If not, it was nice to meet you, right? If we agree, wonderful. If we don't, no problem. If you want to come on my podcast, I'd love it. If you don't, it's no worries. Like, those are the kinds of people that I find. And see, I make a lot more money being indirect. I could have spent all of this time talking about my programs and name drop them and put URLs, and I could be quietly qualifying your list. Trust me, I'm a salesperson by trade. I know how to sell my shit without anybody knowing that that's what I was doing. But I actually make way more money just being myself and letting people come to the conclusion that they would like to enter into my spaces and do their own investigation, and they decide they want to work with me. I actually make way more money by allowing people to use their own agency than me trying to trick and trap.
I love that.
So I really don't run into the whole people trying to sell me immediately problem very much anymore, because everyone knows, like I'm not rich. I'll be the first to admit that, but I'm okay. Like, we're fine. You can't really approach me with desperate energy and it work. You know, folks are like, hey, let's get on a coffee chat tomorrow. I can tell you about my offer and I have a retreat. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really travel, but have a good time. People kind of just have to accept that. Like, you train people how to treat you. And I think I've just trained people that, like, you cannot coerce or push or fake urgency me into some relationship. And I think being, remnants of my skeptical, bullied self has helped me to a degree, because I look at folks and I'm like, what are you trying to gain here? And if I can't figure out your motive, I'll give myself some distance, kind of do what you did, watch and wait. But the short answer is, most people deal in scarcity. They think there's not enough resources in the world, so they don't give the universe or God time to actually work on things in a natural way. They feel like they have to force or convince or create an opportunity in some way in order for them to get an ROI, which is unfortunate.
Totally. It's like they're trying to make the plant grow by dumping as much fertilizer as possible on it. And it turns out that that's just a big pile of shit. So.
And watching it and watering it. Right. And you smother it and it dies. Right. And like the pot's going to grow. The plant's going to grow at the rate that the plant is going to grow. If you need the plant to grow faster, then you either need to buy a different plant that's a little more mature, right? Or you need to change your outcome. Why do you need the plant to grow so fast? So what happens? Okay, well, whatever that is there anything else that could make that thing happen? Because making the plant grow faster is not a choice. But again, the online microwave marketing system says that you can badger people into paying you. It's bad. There are people who benefit from certain people believing that they can force connections faster. And the people who benefit from that rhetoric are well paid. And they don't want to lose out on their money and admit that it's not true. And there's always a crop of new business owners who don't know any better who will buy into that rhetoric.
It's a dream that people buy, and that's why, until you become wiser.
Well, this is why me and you are so successful. We're cynical. We know that there's no shortcut, so we're not looking for one. But when you're naive, you think there's a shortcut. You think that the people making big money have figured out something you haven't.
Totally, and so I'm the first person to admit I've purchased every silver bullet program there is out there because I still hung on to that.
You're so smart. That idea, I'm an idiot. I bought the hard stuff. I didn't buy the silver bullet. I bought the marketing is a drag. Join my 2-year whatever to build it brick by brick. Like, I bought the opposite of the silver bullet. I bought here's the long drawn out, very complex way that you're going to have the system of your dreams in, 18 to 24 months. And 6 months in, I was just like, man, I really wish I had some of my money back, or a result or something. Is there not any short win in this program? They're like, no, this is a long-term important program. I'm like, damn, maybe I should have bought the silver bullet. So I think at least you got the dopamine hit you were looking for. I was just dumb.
I feel like there's this sweet spot somewhere.
There's a sweet spot. Yeah, I bought the biggest, expensive, most expansive, longest duration program that was marketed. I get it the 10-year long program, and you're just like, well, I guess this is it. I guess this is my life for the next 2 years. Maybe I missed college. I don't know.
I think there's a lot of ways to self-fund an MBA in especially the online space. It's a crazy town.
I don't let people go to college anymore. When people ask me about my MBA, I send them this book called The Personal MBA. It's $12.99 on Amazon, and it literally is everything I learned when I got my MBA. So I tell people flat out, do not get an MBA. Let me send you this book instead. And they never read it. When you send people a book on Amazon, you get notified when they actually open it. maybe 10% of people actually open the book.
Well, therein lies a big wealth opportunity for a lot of folks, I think. So Nat, I'm just like, what's the best way for people to follow you and hear more about what you're up to and all those good things?
They should follow me on Facebook. Facebook is my jam. I'm an elder millennial, okay? I'm riding with Zuckerberg till the wheels fall off, for good or bad. And so that's where I live. Amanda has the URL because, they don't really have like handles on Facebook. I'm just going to warn you right now that I post like a mad woman, okay? Yes, I write all the posts. No, I don't use AI. No, I'm not looking for a social media manager. No, I don't care if you think I post too much. Okay, that's my sanctuary. It's my watering hole, and I love that people can come and sip from it as needed and then go back out into the safari and live their life and kill their prey. Okay, I only serve to be the watering hole. That's it. That's it. So just get what you need and tiptoe off, but it's one of the best Facebook pages. It is motivational and interesting. It is a safe space. You can comment. Considering I have no social media formal training, I think it's badass.
It is incredible. I can't vouch for it enough. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to follow you, and so exciting to have you here on the show as well. And dear listener, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss another episode. And hey, if this spoke to you, which I sincerely think it must have, if you're still here, grab the link to the episode and send it to 3 of your friends. You can just shoot it in a DM, send it in a text message, but just let them hear about this more expanded view of how to build wealth and let them make their own decisions about it. I mean, like, that's such an abundant way to look at it. And You know what? Hey, if you could take 5 seconds and actually review the podcast, that's just the biggest gift that you can give us because it helps people to decide what to listen to. Awesome. Nat, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And listener, thanks for tuning in. We will catch you on a future episode.